Welcome back to Git session. Myself, I am Anju M. Dominic. I am an IT practitioner. I have my domain experience mainly in the field of telecom and pharmacy. I have around 5 years of experience working in Git. In this session, I'll be introducing you to the basic concepts of Git. That will help you to get started and to work with Git. So what is Git? Git is a version control system. Then what is a version control system? As a developer, I have often come across situations where I need to keep on modifying my code frequently. For example, say I am working on a particular project. For example, I am taking a project that is for creation of a website. So I need to work on that particular project. I need to add an index page to my website. What I'll do is, I'll just start coding on index.html page. So in this session, I won't be telling you about how you code, like what is the language you have to take, what are the syntaxes you have to follow, nothing like that. We are just worried about how Git will handle the files. So assume that we are working on a particular project, say website creation project, and I need a home page or say an index page. And just assume that an index.html page will create the index page magically. Just assume like that. So I have a website project, website creation project. I have index.html page. I have the code in index.html file, and that will magically create the index page for me. After some time, one of my colleagues comes in and tells, or say a senior developer comes in and tells, I need to add some more features to my code. So what I end up doing is modify my code to index_1.html and include the new features. After some time, another person comes in and tells me that you need to modify a little bit more. Say you need to add new features to that file, and you need to delete some of the features. So what I end up doing is again modify my code. Say I'll rename it to index_2.html. So at the end of the day, I will have different versions of code working in my local environment. And it's very difficult for me to keep a track on these modifications. So I need a system where all these modifications are tracked and recorded, and whenever I require a particular file, I can just go back and select that version of the file. So that is where version control system comes into picture. Version control system tracks, records these file modifications, and at any point of time we can go back to a particular version and get back a version of the file. You have many version control systems in the market. That is, you have Subversion, you have Bitkeeper, you have ClearCase, and of course you have Git. Git is one of the most popularly used version control system. So why we choose Git? Why we need to choose Git? There are some advantages for Git. That is, Git is more fast. It's a simple design. It is easy to work with, and it can support branching. We will be dealing with branching a little later. So with Git, we can work on branches very easily. It also handles it can also handle big projects like open source project, which is Linux kernel software projects. Even you can handle that. Another important feature of Git, it is a fully distributed system, and Git can work offline also. That points need a little bit of explanation. So what do you mean by a fully distributed version control system, and how we can work offline? Before going into that, I would like to tell you about centralized version control system first. In the case of a centralized version control system, the entire code base of your project or entire history of the project will be kept on a central server. And whenever a developer needs a file, say a developer A working on computer A needs a file, he can go to the central server, pick it up, do the modifications and put back onto the central server. That is how centralized version control system works. So it will have a central server where you have the entire code base of your project, and whenever we require to do some modification on some files, we go to the central server, take the file, modify it and put back to the central server. But what happens if the central server breaks down or cracks? What happens? Your entire code base of the project will be lost. So that is where a distributed version control system comes into picture. In the case of a distributed version control system, and Git is one of them, in DVS system or distributed version control system, you have the entire code base on the central server and also on all the developer machines. So if there is a developer A working on computer A, he needs some files, but he need not go to a central server. He has the entire code base in his local environment itself. So there is no issue or nothing happens even if the central server goes down. We have the entire code base in the developer environment, and any of the developer environment could be made at the central server. And one more thing I would like to tell you, that in the case of a centralized version control system, every time a developer needs a file, he needs to go to the server, download that and work on that and then put it back. So there is an issue of latency in the centralized version control system. But we don't have that in a distributed version control system, because whatever you have, all the dependent files are there in your local environment. So we need not go to a central server or need not connect to any of the outside servers to get some files. So that means we can actually continue with our coding in the local environment even if you don't have the internet, even if you are offline. Because whatever files it is required and all the dependent files, whatever you need, everything is there in your local environment itself. Only when you want to upload your modified codes, the final codes, to a central server, you need to have the access of internet. I'll tell you a use case for that. Suppose you are traveling. You have 6 hours of air travel. But you need to have some code to be done immediately. If you're working on a centralized version system, and if you need some dependent files, every time you need to go to the central server and take that up. You need internet connectivity frequently. But if you're working on a DVS system or a distributed version control system, you don't need that. You can actually continue with our coding even if you are not having the internet facility, even if you are offline. So that is the main feature of Git, that it can work offline also. That is why Git is mainly preferred by the people nowadays. So I'll just repeat the points. Git is nothing but a distributed version control system where all your code modifications will be tracked, recorded and kept safely. And whenever we require a particular version of the code, we can select that from the version system. It is kind of fast. Since it is distributed, it can work offline also. And only when you need your entire code, completed code to be uploaded into the central server, you need to have the internet. So that is the basic introduction to Git. Then we'll see an interesting fact about Git. Anyone knows this person? He is Linus Torvalds. Have you heard about him before? Of course, he is the creator of Git, and he is also the creator of Linux kernel software program. And how he created Git is quite interesting. In early days of Linux kernel software program, the entire code base it's an open source project, an entire code base was kept on a version control system called BitKeeper. And everything was going fine, or their relationship was very fine. But what happened around 2005 is that the management of the BitKeeper version control system wanted to charge Mr. Linus Torvalds for keeping Linux kernel software program in its system, which he didn't like. What he did was, he just sat in a closed room for almost a week and just created Git. Just like that, he created Git. He came out and told that, I don't want any other version control system anymore. I have my own system, and that is Git. And it is said that even now, Git uses some of the basic flows created by Mr. Linus Torvalds. Of course, there has been new commands added, new features added, but the basic workflow is the same. So that is about the interesting fact about Git. So Git is nothing but a distributed version control system where it tracks, records all your file modifications, and at any point of time you can go back to that version when we require. Then we will move to some of the basics of Git. That will help you work in Git. As I have told you before, Git is a distributed version control system. So the entire code base is situated on a central server and also on all developer machines. Code base will be available in all developer machines and also on the central server. How to achieve that? We will do a hands-on on that. Let's go back to our earlier example, that is website creation project. Consider that it is a new project. You have not started working on it. It is a new project and we are just going to start to work on that project, a website creation project. The first thing what you'll do is you'll create a path to work from. Let's do that. Let's go to our terminal. I hope everybody has installed Git in their system and have a GitHub login with you. Let's just go to our terminal. I'll create a path where I'll be working for the project. See, I've created a folder web1 where I'll be working for this particular project. I'll cd into that path. So this is a completely new project. We don't have any code base with us now. So I'll just initialize a local Git directory where I will be keeping your entire code base. How to create? We will use the command git init. And what it will do? It will just initialize an empty Git repository in our local environment, in our local path, wherever we are working on. Why is it empty? Because this is a new project. We have just started to work on that project. We have no codes yet. So I'll just initialize a Git repository. So what you will see, if you go to that path, you will be able to see a .git folder. This .git folder is nothing but our local Git directory, or say repository. Repository is nothing but a directory where you can save your codes. So .git directory is nothing but our local Git repository where your entire code base will go into. Whatever file modifications you do, whatever directory structure you create, all the history of your project will go to this .git directory. If you delete this .git directory, the entire history of your code or entire history of your project will be gone. So .git directory is nothing but the local Git directory where you will have the entire code base. How the entire code base will be stored in the .git folder will not be included in this session. It will be handled in one of the advanced sessions on Git. But for the time being, just understand that .git directory will have your entire code base. There is one file in the .git folder that you need to consider. That is a configuration file which is called config file in the .git folder. So if I cat that file, you will be able to see some settings related to your repository. Don't worry too much about that. Just understand that this particular configuration file is called the local configuration file, and this file will have the entire settings related to your repository, your current repository. And there is one more thing you need to consider. There is one more configuration file that you need to consider in this session. That is called global configuration file. The global configuration file is situated in your home directory and it is called .git config file. This is called the global configuration file, where you will have all the configuration settings related to your user. All the details related to a particular user, all the settings related to a particular user will be included in this configuration file. So let's just come back to our Git init. So what we have done is we have created a local repository now. Now you need to update a user details. Update your user details in your Git repo. How to do that? You need to update the details in the global configuration file. For that, you will use the command git config. Git config. It is given as global since this is for the global configuration file. So all the settings that you mention here will be going to the global configuration file. And you are going to set your username. Set your username as, I'll be setting mine as Quadralogics. Let's just cat the configuration file. Yes, the name is set to Quadralogics now. Now let's just add an email also. So that will be quadralogics@gmail.com. Let's get the file. See, the name details and the email details are updated now in the global configuration file. Now we are ready to go. You have a Git repository, you have the user details updated. Now the next important thing that you have to understand in Git is there are 3 states in Git. The 3 states in Git are, or 3 states in which your files could be there in Git are modified state, staged state and committed state. All the files that are modified for your particular project are called modified files. Selected files that will be saved into the .git directory are called the staged files. The files whose content has been stored into the .git directory is called as committed files. So from the picture itself you will understand that working directory is where we actually do our coding. So files from there will be moved to the staging area. Staging area is where you have the staged files. So these files are ready to be saved to the So from the staging area, it will be committed to the .git directory. Committed in the sense it's just saved to the .git directory permanently. So that version of the code will be saved to your .git directory permanently, and whenever it is required, we can go back to the .git directory and check out the file. I'll just tell you with an example. What is the concept of staging in Git? It's just simple like going for a shopping to a supermarket. What do you do when you go for a shopping? You take up whatever items you need, you put them into a shopping cart, and you go for billing. Our staging area is just like the shopping cart. All the items that need to be billed will be put into the shopping cart. Just like that, all the files that need to be saved to the .git directory will be put into the staging area first. Let's do a hands-on on this concept. Let's move to our terminal. So we have our project, website creation project, that is web 1. We have our repository also ready. Now you need to have some files, some code modifications. Assume that we need to create an index page to your website. What you will do? You need an index.html file. So just assume that you have index.html file, and that will magically create index page for you. As we are not considering any of the coding languages or coding standards, nothing we are included in this session. We just concentrate on how the Git will handle the files. So just assume that you have one index.html file. I'll just touch index.html file. So touch command will actually create an index.html file with nothing in it. And just assume that this index.html file will be creating an index page for your website. Now you may require another file, say index.css, for some styling purpose. So I'll just create another file, index.css. If I give ls, I'll be able to see index.css file in index.html file. So these are the two files in your Git system. Now how to know the status of these files? So we have not committed anything, we just have new files. So I'll just find the status of this file. So I'll use the command git status. It is giving us a lot of information. First, what it is mentioning is it is on the branch master. What is this master and what is this branching? So we will be dealing with branching a little later, but just understand that by default, whatever you do belongs to the master branch. By default, you have the master branch, and where you actually code is in the master branch if you don't have any other branches. So by default, we are having only master branch, so we are on the branch master, and we have not committed anything to the .git directory till date, so we don't have any commits. And now next, what it shows is the status of these files. These are untracked files. These are new files just created, and Git just knows that these are two files. These are untracked files. There is no history for these files, and Git doesn't know what to do with them. Git just know that these are some untracked files and unstaged files. So when you see something like this, these are called unstaged, untracked files. So I have finished my coding. I have my index.html ready and index.css also ready. And there is one more command you can do here, that is git status -s. That will show only relevant information or relevant status about these files. 2 question marks, that means that these are untracked, unstaged files. So for easiness, we can use this command also to know the status of these files. So we have our code path, we have the repository, and we have some files. Now you need to put those files to the .git directory. So what do? First you stage these files. How to stage these files? We will use the command git add. Suppose if I want to add git add index.html file to the staging area, I'll just give git add index.html. Or just say if I give index add space dot, it will add all the files in its path. So it will add both index.css and index.html file into the staging area. So I have just added these files to the staging area. Let's just see the status of these files. We'll give the command git status. So what is the status of this file? It has just changed to green color. It has just changed to green color and it is telling that it is staged. So we have 2 files in our path which are staged files now. If I give the command git status -s, you will be able to see that it is denoted by one A, green color A. That means these files are staged files. So these files are ready to be saved to the .git directory. So now what you can do? You need to save this to the .git directory by using the command git commit. So I'll use the command git commit and I'll give a commit message saying that added index page. Always give a relevant command in the commit message so that from the message itself you can understand what is this commit for. So I have just added an index page, so I have created a commit for that. And what are the informations it is showing us? It is telling that it is on the master. Yes, by default we will be on the master since we don't have any other branches, so by default branch we will be on master. And it is telling it is root commit. Root commit comes only once for the first commit. So this is the first commit, so it is denoted as root commit. And you see something like this. Alphanumerical, some hexadecimal code. This is nothing but a unique identifier for this particular commit. So whenever you want to go to this version of the code, you can select this identifier. So that will denote this commit. So whatever files that has gone to this commit, you can get back by using this identifier. And this is created by a SHA-1 hash checksum algorithm run by the Git. You don't have to worry too much about that. Just understand that there is an algorithm called SHA-1 hash algorithm which is run by the Git, and it is a checksum algorithm, and depending on all the details like at what time you did the commit, who did the commit, what are the contents that went to the commit, what is the file structure, depending on all these points, that algorithm will create an identifier, a unique identifier. This is actually a 40-digit identifier, but here it is showing only the first 7 digits. So I'll show you how you can get the 40-digit later. So just understand that this is the unique identifier for this particular commit, and the commit message is added indents page. And you have 2 files, that is indents.css and indents.html. So we are seeing 0 insertions and 0 deletions. That is a peculiar thing to see. That is because we don't have any code written in that files. If you have 1 line of code in indents.css and another say 2 lines of code in indents.html, you may see 3 insertions and 0 deletions. The next what you are seeing is create mode 100644 for indents.css. This is all related to how Git works internally. Don't worry too much about that. Just understand that for a certain type of files, this number will be given. So if you are having some other kind of files, say some binary files or something like that, you may have a different number here. So that will be done by Git internally. So how to know a little more details about this command? I can use the command git log. What it is showing us? Yes, it is giving us the 40-digit identifier created by Git. This is an outcome of SHA-1 hash algorithm. And who has created the commit? At what time it was created? And what is the commit message? And you have something here. Master you already know, since we don't have any other branches, and by default we will be on the master branch. What is this head? Head is nothing but a pointer to the master branch that will actually tell us where we are. If you have multiple branches, that will tell us where we are, in which branch we are on. So what we have done till now is I have created a folder, a path for my project. I just created a .git empty git repository where my entire code base will go. Then I updated the user details. Then I created some code. I have done some coding. I have some files. I have staged that files and then committed it. Now this version of the code is permanently stored to the .git directory. If you want to see what are the files that went to that commit, you can use the command git show. Git show, you can give this identifier. It will show that. Don't worry too much, just understand that you have indents.css file and indents.html file that has gone to that commit. So next thing that we need to do is, so till now we have been working offline. We have not connected to any internet. Even if you don't have the internet, this will work. Only you need to have a Git installed in your system. But now I need to upload this committed files or the details about this commit, all the files that are committed, to my central repository. Central repository is nothing but our GitHub repository. So we will go to our GitHub. Let's go to GitHub. Hope you already have the GitHub login. Now we will just create a new repository here called Web1. So you have a small button here that will create the new repository. You can give the name Web1. And there are two options here, public repository and private repositories. What are they? I'll just give you a brief idea. We'll go through that a little later also. So you are having a GitHub repository means you have the entire code base in that repository. In the case of a public repository, anyone can see this Web1 repository and anyone can download your code, but only a few can modify your code. And in the case of a private repository, only a few can even see the code. So that is the basic difference. Public repository anyone can see, but in the case of a private repository, only a few can see. And of course, only a few can modify the code also. We'll come there a little later. So just understand that we are creating a new web repository called Web1. I'll just create a repository here. So what I have created a Web1 repository, and you have some commands here that will help us to establish the communication between our local Git repository with the central GitHub repository. We'll just copy the first code. We'll go to our terminal. So I am just giving this command, git remote add origin. What did it do? So this is the URL where you have the Web1 repository, newly created Web1 repository on the GitHub. We are just giving a name for this repository and it's called origin. And since this repository is not in our local environment, we are just adding it as remote. So where we will add these details? This will be added in the local configuration file which is there in the .git folder. We can just cat that. So see here you have a new details here. You have a remote which is the origin that denotes the URL, this one. So whenever you mean origin, it means our GitHub repository in this particular path. And you have some called fetch, refs, etc. This is something related to ref spec in Git. We won't be considering that in our session. That will be included in one of the advanced sessions on Git. So just understand that remote locations are added to our local Git repository in the local configuration file. So now the connection is ready, that is, you know the URL where to connect, and it is updated in the local configuration file. Now you need to upload your code from your local Git repository to your GitHub repository. How to do that? You will use the command git push. And if I do this command, what will happen? So what is this command all about? So git push is for pushing your details from the local Git repository to the GitHub repository. And what is this origin? Origin is nothing but the GitHub repository, that URL. Master is like, since we are on the master branch, we are going to create a master branch on the GitHub repository also. And what is this -u? That is for upstream. That means you need to create the master in the GitHub repository first before we are pushing anything there. So this will be required for the first time. So if I use this command, what will happen? I will be asked for the credentials of the GitHub. So I'll give the credentials here, Quadra Logics, and I'll give my password. So what happened? Now the committed change in your local Git directory or repository is pushed into the GitHub repository. Let's go and see on the GitHub what happened. So if I go to GitHub and to Web 1, you will be able to see that you have the commit here. C1 commit, you have the files here, index.css and index.html. So what we did was, we did our coding locally, and at the end, when the coding was finished, we pushed it to our central repository or GitHub repository. So that is the basic flow that we have in Git. How the modified files go through the staging area, committed state, and then they are pushed to the GitHub repository. And this is what you do if you're working on a completely new project. Always that is not the case. You will be working on something existing project also. So how to work with that? So just take our Web 1 project itself. So you have some files there. It is an existing repository now. Now I'm a new developer or I'm a new person who has come to this project. So I need to have the code and make a Git repository in my path. How to do that? That is where Git clone comes into picture. We'll go to our terminal. And I'll just clear everything. And I'll just go to another path and create another folder, cweb2. And I'm going into that path. So I'm a new developer now. So I have a new path, that is web2. I don't know anything about Git repository. I don't have anything initialized in my path. And I'm being told to work on a particular project, and you have the entire code base on the web1 repository in the GitHub. So first I need to do is, I need to clone the repository to my path. I'll use the command git clone, and you can get the URL here. You have here clone or download. You can copy it to clipboard, and if you go to your terminal, what it will do is, it will clone the entire Web1 repository to your path. If I give ls, I'll be able to see Web1, and if I go to Web1 and if I give ls-al, I will be able to see the .git directory. So I have a local Git repository now in my path. I can just push whatever I have here. I can do modifications here and push it to my GitHub repository Web1. That is what you do when you're working on an existing project. Let's just come back to our private and public repository. As I have told you, in the case of a public repository, anyone can download your code or anyone can clone your code, but only a few can modify them. In the case of a private repository, only a few can even clone the code and only a few can modify the code. How to give access for this modification access to certain people? If I want to give access to certain people, I need to add them as collaborators in my repository. How to do that? Let's just go to our GitHub repository. So you have Web1 repository here and you have settings here. So if I go to settings, you will be able to see a field called collaborators. That is where you can give the collaborators you want, or collaborators will have the modification access to your project. Say suppose I have one more user ID, I'll give mine here. I can add this as collaborator under my repository. So if I do this, I'll be getting an email in my registered email or an invitation in my registered email where I need to accept it. If I accept it, I can do whatever modifications I want to do or Anju can do in the particular path Web1. That is how you can do or how you can give access to collaborators. Let's do an activity. Let's do an activity on whatever we have studied till now. Just share your GitHub username details in the chat window. I will give you collaborated access to a repository called Git Webinar 19th December. Accept the invitation that you will receive in your preferred email. Then try to do or create a file in your name. Commit it, push it to the central repository, and I will be able to see the files in the repository, Git Webinar repository. Or I'll just show you how you can do it. So if I go to my GitHub login, and if I go to my repositories, I have already one repository here, I have given access to my other email ID or other username, and I have uploaded one of my files on my name, and I have appended all my initials with underscore. So just do that activity. Just share your details in the chat window. I will add you as collaborator to this repository. Then you can clone the repository, create a file in your name, push it to the central repository, and I will be able to see them on this path. This is also easy for me to issue certificates because I will be able to know whoever has attended the class. So I'll just give you another 10 to 15 minutes to do this activity. You can get your GitHub username here. That if I go to you will be able to see your ID here. Just give that. I'm not sure if I have missed out somebody. Please respond if I have missed you. Anyone is still pending? I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Just accept the invitation that has come to your email ID. Then you will be having the access to this repository. Just create a name, create a file in your name and add it to the staging area, commit it, and then push it. We'll wait another 5 to 10 minutes if you have anybody left. So 3 have accepted the invitation. I'm waiting for the other 4 people. Anyone else is still there to give the GitHub user details? Two more to accept. I'm yet to receive the files with the names. Anyone else to send the GitHub username? You can see that here. If you go to your profile, you can see that here. Yes, I have one now. Mr. Mahesh Bowser. Anyone else? So first clone the repository, create a file in your name, push that, commit that, stage that, commit that, and push that. We'll wait for another 5 minutes. We'll just wait for another 5 minutes. Please update your file in this path so that it is easy for me to give away the certificates to those who have attended the workshop. Are you facing any issues? Because I have got only one commit here. We'll wait another 2 more minutes. So I think we will move with our next session. So please continue doing that activity. So it will be easy for me to issue the certificates to those who have participated in the workshop. So we will just move to our next session, that is Git commands. So some of the basic commands that you need to know to work with Git. So we'll just go to our terminal window. So I'll just go back to my previous path. So I have my files here and I have my commit here, and if I want to know only some of the relevant informations about the commit, what I can do is I can give the command git log hyphen one line. If I give that, it will show us only relevant information. So what it is saying? So we have the identifier, commit identifier, the first 7 digit of the 40 digit identifier created. You are currently on the master, head is pointing to the master, and on the master we have the commit added index page. And what is this? Origin master. Origin is nothing but at our GitHub repository. And master is the master of the GitHub repository. So what it is saying that both our master in our local Git repository and the master of the GitHub repository are same. Both are on the commit this with the commit message added index page. So both our master, our default master branch in the local, and also the GitHub repository has the same commits. That is what it is meant here. And there is some other attributes that you can give to this log command. So git log hyphen one line. If I give hyphen all, I'll be able to see all branches, and if I give graph, I'll be able to see the actual flow, how the branching goes. And if I give hyphen decorate, I'll be able to see all the colors, different colors in different colors. So if I see here, since we have only one commit, we are not able to understand much of a difference. But if you do it while you're doing on a branching scenario or something, you will be able to understand more. So that is about the git log command. Now we will move to how to create new commands in Git. You can create user-friendly commands as you like. How to do that? For creation of such commands, you will use git config command, and whatever aliases you create will be put into your global configuration file. Alias is nothing but a name for a particular, or it's a something called a naming. So how to do that? So you have such a big command now, git log hyphen one line hyphen all hyphen graph hyphen decorate, such big command. It's very easy, very difficult to type. So how to create an alias for this command? You can use the command. So I'll just show you how your global configuration file is looking. If I go here, I'll be able to see whatever I have updated till now. Now here is where I'm going to append our alias. So how to do that? I'll use the command git config hyphen global alias dot say I'm going to give LG. So whenever LG is given, that means this command. So that is how you create an alias. You're creating an alias for this long command. So I'll give git config hyphen global alias dot LG, which means log hyphen one line hyphen all hyphen graph decorate. So I've created an alias. Let's go and see what happened in our global configuration file. It got updated. I'll take another example. I have already shown you about status-s command to know the status of the file. For that also you can give an alias. How to give that? You can use git config again. Global alias dot s. Suppose if I am giving the name alias for status hyphen s. So what happened? Let's go and see our config file. You have the alias ready now. How to work with that alias? So you have a file, and I am going to create a contact file. I need to have a contact page, so I will be creating a contact.html file. Contact.html, and I am adding it to the staging area. So what it will show here, if I give git else, it will show the status hyphen s command. So what it is showing, you have the contact.html file which is staged. Now I am going to commit it. -m added contact.html. So I have committed it. Now if I give git lg, what I will be able to see? I will be able to see that we have an identifier, headmaster, and this is the commit. So alias is working fine now. This is how you create aliases in your Git. So you can create your own commands. Now we will just move forward. We'll go back to our previous example, that is the website project. You have index page now, you have contact page now. Assume that it is a e-commerce website that you are selling something. You have a category page and then you have a product page. Just assume like that. So assume that a category.html file and category.css file will create the category page, and product.html file and product.css file will create the product page. Let's do the hands-on. So I'll just touch 4 files. See category.html, category.css. We can give like this also, space with space in between them, and I'll give product.html and product.css. So let's see what are the files you have. You have the 4 files, and if I give git-s, what is the status? 2 question marks. That means these are untracked, unstaged files. Now I'm a new developer, and I have heard that in Git all the similar things go in one commit. So I felt like it is better to group together all HTML files together and all CSS files together. So I'll do 2 commits. One is for HTML file and other is for CSS file. Let's do that. What I'll do is I'll do git add say star.html. What it will give me, if I give git s, it will show that you have 2 staged files now, category.html and product.html. I am going to commit it. -m added HTML files. Now we will add all the CSS files together. So how to add? Git add star.css. Again, if I give git s, what it will show me? You have two staged file, category.css and product.css. I'll go for commit. So git commit -m added CSS files. So if I give git lg, that alias, so you have two commits, and master is latest commit on the master is added CSS file, and you have added HTML files, and still origin master is in the index page itself, that commit itself, because we have not pushed anything to the central GitHub repository after this. So you have one commit for CSS file and one commit for HTML files. Now a senior developer comes in and tells me that it is not looking good. We should not group CSS together and HTML together. You should have a commit for category page and another commit for product page. So what to do now? How to discard these commits? If I discard these commits, whether the people will know about these commits, that I have done something wrong and I have changed it. How to modify that? Suppose you want to discard the commits, you use the command git reset. And there are three modes of reset command. You have soft reset, hard reset, and mixed reset. Mixed is the default reset, so you don't have to specifically give mixed in the command. But in the case of hard and soft, you have to give explicitly hard and soft reset. So let's do a reset. First we will do is mixed reset or default reset. So in the case of a default reset, that will discard the commits and put all the modified files to an unstaged state. So let's do that. How to give the command? I'll use the command git reset. Since it is mixed reset, you don't have to specifically give half mixed. You can just ignore that mixed and give git reset, and head if you have two commits that you need to discard. One is 38517D7 and 4A9839B. It will be different for each one of you. So how to give that? You give tilde2. So this will reset the two commits. So what happened just now? We'll go and see the commit list. You don't have that commits anymore. You don't have this added CSS file and added HTML files anymore. And what happened to the files? Let's see the status of the files. These are all unstaged files now. This is how you do undoing in Git. How to discard the commits. So this mode of reset is called mixed reset, where you will discard the commit and all the files will be put into the unstaged, untracked place. So now your helper comes in, your senior developer comes and tells that now what you have to do is you have to group the category page, all category.css and category.html together and create a commit for that. And you have to put together product.css and product.html together and create a commit for that. So what we will do? Again we will add git add say cat star. What happened? If I give git s, I'll be able to see two files, two category files that are staged, and I'll create the commit -m added category page. Now what I do is I will add the product page together. star. What happened? If I give git s, I'll be able to see product.css file and product.html file is staged. And what I will do, I'll do a commit -m added product page. So you will see the git lg, you are again giving the alias. So you have two commits now, one for adding the product page and one for adding the category page. You have two commits now on the master. So now again your, I should say, villain comes in and tells you don't want two commits now. He wants only one commit for both category page and product page together. Say it's like e-commerce page. Only one commit you require. What you will do? You will do a soft reset. In the case of a soft reset, the command will discard the commits and also put the files into the staging area. Let's see that. So I'll just give the command git reset. I should explicitly give as soft reset and give head tilde say 2. So adding a product page and category page will go off. What happened? I'll give git lg. What happened? The last two commits are gone now. And what happened to the files? All the files are now put into the staging area. So we can just add, we have already added it, so we can just commit it. Say added e-commerce page. So I have created the commit. If I go and see, now I have only one commit for both category page and product page. So what we have done now is soft reset. Now again our villain comes in and tells that I don't want this e-commerce page at all. I don't want this work at all. I want to just discard this commit and to discard all the files. I don't want the files also. Then we will do a hard reset. How to do a hard reset? You have to give git reset --hard. You have to give head. In this case it is only tilde1. So now what happened? The last commit is gone, and what happened to the files? You don't have the category file, product file at all. Even the files are discarded. All our work is wasted. So if you use this command, everything will be discarded. All your commits will be discarded and also your files will be thrown. So these are the three modes of reset. You have mixed reset, soft reset and hard reset. In the case of a mixed reset, it will discard the commits and put all the files into the unstaged, untracked place. In the case of a soft reset, it will discard the commit and put all the files into the staging area. In the case of a hard reset, it will discard the commits and also discard the files. So that is all about the git reset command. Let's move on with some other commands that we use commonly. I'll just clear here. I hope streaming is going on fine. Let's continue with our commands. How to rename a file. Let's see what are the files you have got. You have index.css and index.html. Now a senior person comes in and tells me that I don't want this index.css or index.home HTML page. I want it to be renamed as home.html and index.css file or home.css file. How to do that? You can use two commands. In two ways you can do that. One, either by using Git or by without using Git. We'll do both. How to do using Git? How to rename a file using Git? You will use the command git mv. So we'll just do that. We'll give git mv index.html. I'll rename it as home.html. What happened? Now our friend is git status command. So what happens in git status? Git is able to understand that our index.html file got renamed to home.html file and it is staged. So just commit that change. You will be able to see -m, say renamed index.html to home.html. If I give ls, I'll be able to see home.html. So everything is fine now. So I have renamed index.html file to home.html file by using the git command git mv. Suppose we are not using Git, you are renaming the file in some IDE or you are using your Linux system. You will use the command mv to rename the file. We'll just see how to rename index.css file to home.css file. Let's do that. mv index.css. I'll rename it as home.css. So what happened? I'll give git status. Since I have renamed it outside Git, Git is not able to understand what has happened. What Git is telling us that we have an index.css file. We used to have an index.css file which is deleted now. And you have a new file home.css. But Git doesn't know what is the link between index.css file and home.css file. What we will do now is add that to the staging area. We'll add that to the staging area. And if I give say git status, what it will show me? After adding that to the staging area, Git was able to understand that index.css file got renamed to home.css file. But how? There is a part of code in Git that will create a similarity index between two files. And the similarity index varies between 0 to 1. If both the files have a similarity index of 0, that means two files are completely different. But if you have a similarity index of 1, that means both the files are same. So Git will understand that we have renamed the file. So now we have renamed the file and it is staged. We can just commit it. -m renamed index.css to home.css. So what we did is We renamed index.html file to home.html file by using the command git mv. Then we renamed index.css file to home.css file using the command mv. That is a Linux command. So these are the two ways you can do to rename the file. Now how to delete a file? Let's see, we have contact.html file. You will create one contact.css file also. Let's create that contact.css and I will add that to the staging area and I will just commit it. Okay, so now you have contact.css file and contact.html file. But I don't want this feature, I don't want this page. They have deleted this in the requirement, so I don't want a contact page in our website anymore. So first we will do deletion of the file by using the git command. Deletion of the file can also be done in the two ways, like how we did renaming the file. So how to delete contact.html file using git command? So for that you will use git rm contact.html. So what happened? If I give git status, it is showing D, that is deleted file, and that change is staged. You can just commit it -m deleted contact.html file. So what I did, I just deleted the contact.html file, and if I go and see the path, I don't have the contact.html file anymore. Now how to do this deletion outside Git? By using by using the Linux command. You can do that by your any IDE or something like that. So just I'll use the Linux command. Only thing is I'm deleting it outside the git command. So how to do that? I'll give the command contact.css. What it is showing me? It is showing that we have a deleted contact.css file, but that change is not staged. So we will add that to the staging area and then do the commit like how we did before. .css. So what did I do? I deleted the file outside Git. If I go and see here, I don't have the contact.css file anymore. This is how you delete a particular file in Git. So we have already seen how to give the alias, how to create alias, how to reset, then how to rename the file, then how to delete the file. The next thing that we'll be concentrating on is how to ignore some files. Say you have your code here. You have some log files that are created occasionally. Say you have, I'll create some log files, test.log, say test1.log and test2.log. You have some log files here. I don't want these log files to be included in the Git repo. Always we can avoid these files to be included in the staging area. But suppose by mistake if I have given a git add all command, git add space dot command, which will add all the files to the staging area. So that is kind of weird. So I don't want that situation. I don't want to add these files to the Git repository or even to the staging area, even by accident. So how to ignore these log files for always or all the time, to delete or to ignore these files? How to do that? For that, you need to create a .git ignore file. I'll just create a .git ignore file. What happened? I'll just include star.log, all the files with the extension .log. If I include like that, in my .git ignore file, all the log files will be ignored. So now if I give git s, what it is showing me? It is showing only .git ignore file. .git ignore file have already started its job. It's ignoring the log files from now itself. So we have only .git ignore file that is untracked and unstaged. You don't have any log files included in this status. So that will be ignored for always. I'll just add this to the staging area and do the commit. Added .git ignore file. So what I did is, I just created a .git ignore file to ignore some of the files in my path. But consider one thing. You have a special .log. I'll create a special .log file in the path. Consider that this log file is having some important information and you want to include this file in the repo. You need to add this to the local git directory. But what I have mentioned is star.log in .git ignore file. That will ignore all the log files and even this one. But I don't want to ignore this file specifically. I want all the log files to be ignored, but I don't want this log file to be ignored. How to do that? You can just modify the file .git ignore. If I go to the VI editor, I can give the command that is node special .log, not special .log, that is avoid ignoring special .log file, and just I will save it. So if I give git s, what it is showing me? It is showing a modified file .git ignore and another special .log file. So what I need to do is, I will add all these changes to the staging area. So you have everything now and you can just commit it. I'll give the commit message as modified .git ignore to include special .log. So that is what you do to ignore some files and you need to add certain type of files. That is what you can do. So that are the basic commands that you need to have, you need to know in the Git scenario. So what you have done is, you have studied how to create alias in the Git system, how to reset the commits, how to rename files, delete files, and even ignore files. So let's just move to your next topic of the day, which is branching and merging. This is also known as the killer feature of Git. It is called so because of the ease with which we can work on Git and do this branching and merging. So what is this branching? Branching is nothing but creation of an independent line of work. I'll tell you with an example. Let's just go back to our previous project example, like website creation project. You're working on a website creation project and you want to add a new feature, say search feature. You need to add new feature called search feature. So what you will do? It's a good rule of thumb to create an entirely different branch to work on. So you'll create a separate branch for the search feature and you work from there, so that you don't mess up your things together. You don't mess up the master. Because while coding, some things might work, some things not work. So in order to avoid messing up what you do on the master, it's better to create a feature branch and do the feature or all the coding for the particular feature in that particular branch. And when it is ready, when the branching is ready or the code is ready, you have tested and everything is done and the code is ready, you can merge the code with the master. Let's do a hands-on on that. We'll go to our terminal. And first thing that I will show you is what are the branches we have got. So what I'll give is, I'll give the command git branch. So what are the things it is showing me? It is showing me that by default I am on the master branch. The small asterisk there tells me that currently I am on the master branch. And whatever coding I do ends up in the master branch. So now, I have my website project here, I have some commits here, I have some code here, I have been coding for last couple of days. So I have my entire code here, I have the master, everything is here. Now I want to add a new search feature to this website. So it's better to create a branch for the particular feature. So how to create a branch? You can use the command git branch. If I give git branch search, it will create the new branch search. And if I give the command git branch, it will show that now I have got two branches. One is the master branch and one is the search branch. But currently we are pointing to the master branch. You have our master only. But we want to have our work to be done in the search branch, and we want to be pointing to the search branch. How to do that? I'll do the checkout. I'll use the command checkout search. If I do git checkout search and if I give branch, what is the difference that you will see? You will see that currently we are on the search branch, and whatever we do, whatever modifications you do, end up in the search branch only. It will not affect the master branch at all. Master branch is completely different. So now I need to have the coding done. So I have my search branch. Currently I am on the search branch. Now I want to do some coding on the search branch. So assume that I want to create a search page, and I'll create a file called search.html that will magically create my search page. So I'll just touch search.html, and what happened? So you have the entire code here now in search.html. So search.html will create the search page. What I'll do is I will add that to the searching area, and if I give git as, I'll know the status, and if I give the commit, what I'll do, added search page. So I have added the search page. So remember that if I give git lg, what it will show me? It will show me that you have a master, and the last commit on the master is adding the modified.ignore file to include the special.log file. So this is the last commit, we have it on master. But search branch have moved forward by one commit, which is with this identifier and the commit message added search page. So in the search branch you have another commit which is not there on the master branch. Master branch is still on the this commit A9Z0, but the search branch is on 5E02086. So now what we need to do is, we have the search branch, we have the code already there, we have finished our coding, we have added that to the directory, and what we did, what we need to do now? Now we need to merge the code, merge the completed code from the search branch to the master branch. Ultimately, whatever you do should end up in the master branch before it goes to the production, or you say live environment. So whatever branches you create, all the changes, all the modifications should end up in the master at the end. So now I need to merge the search branch with the master. How to do that? First thing is, we will make sure that we are on the master. So I'll just check out master. So I have switched to the master now, and if I give git branch, I am told that I am on the master. Now I need to merge search branch. What happened now? Let's see here. See, you have the search.html file on the master branch, and if I give the command, see, git lg, what you will see here, you have the master and also the search branch both on this commit. So all the changes from the search branch is brought down to the master branch now. So search branch and master branch is up to date now. So I don't want the search branch anymore. You have the entire code in the master branch, so you don't want the search branch anymore. So what we will do is, we'll delete the search branch. How to do that? You will use the command git branch -d search, and if I give the git branch, what it will show me? It will show that currently we have only one master branch. We have deleted the search branch, but all the modifications are now in the master branch also. It has been merged into the master branch. So that is the basic flow of branching. You will have a branch created, you will do the modifications there, and finally you will merge the branch with the master and delete the branch. So what I'll tell you before, just I'll go a little bit backward. See, I have given git merge search and I am seeing some updates here. What are these updates? It is told as it is a fast forward merge. This is all the commits, that is the master branch is being updated with the latest commit, and it is tell that, and it is including the search.html file, and it is tell that it is a fast forward merge. So such kind of merges are called fast forward merge. In the case of a fast forward merge, you have a master, you have a branch, you have some commits on the master, you will have the entire commits of the master in the branch, but after some days of work you will have some extra commits on the branch. So you will just merge the commits that are there on the branch, that is the new branch, with the master. So such kind of merges are called fast forward merge. And there is also one more merge that you need to consider in Git, that is recursive merge. How to do a recursive merge? Let's do some hands-on on that. We'll go back to our category page and product page. Now let's assume that in our website we need to have a category feature and a product feature. So what I will do is I'll create two branches and will work on that feature separately and then try to merge all together. So let's do it. So first of all, let's check whether we are on the master. Yes, currently we are on the master. We don't have any other branch. So now I need to work on a category feature. So what I'll do is I'll create a branch. There is a shortcut to create a branch and do the checkout together, and that is git checkout -b. So that will create a new branch called category and it will check out the same. So if I give the git branch command, I am currently on the category branch. So I don't have anything to do now. So I am currently on the category branch. So what I'll do is I want to create a category page. Assume that I am creating a category page with category.html file. You have the category.html file. What I'll do is I'll just add it and then commit it. So I have done whatever coding I have got in the category feature. So while I was working on the category feature, some of my colleagues were working on another feature called product, or they were working on the product feature of creating product page. Say they want to create a product page. So they also might have created another branch. So I'll again create another branch. So check out master first. So I'll go to the master and I will do the checkout -b and I'll create the new branch product. So I have created a new branch. So I'll give the command git branch. What I'll be saying is I have two branches, category and product, and currently I am on the product branch. So what my colleagues will be doing is they will be creating a product.html file that will magically create the product page. So I'll just touch product.html and I will add it and commit it. And I'll see git lg what it will show me. there is a slightly different way. See, graphs and all is coming into picture now. So what I have got is, on our local default master, the latest commit was adding the search page, which is the identifier 5E02086. After that, I created a category branch and I did a commit there for the category.html file. So this is the commit there on the category branch. And then I created another branch product with the commit identifier this and the commit messages added product page. So from the master, there are two branches called category and product. Each one is having its own commit. Category branch is having a commit which is not there on the master and product page. Product branch is having a commit that is not there on the master and the category branch. So let's just merge the category feature with the master branch. This merge will be fast forward merge because only extra commit we are having is there in the category branch. We don't have any extra commits on the master. So such kind of merges are called fast forward merge. So if I go to checkout master and give a git merge command for the category branch, what it will do is it will merge the category branch with the master and it will be a fast forward merge. So such kind of merges are called fast forward merge. We have master branch, you have the category branch, you have some commits on the category branch. So when you do a fast forward, when you do a merge, you'll do a fast forward merge because we don't have any other commits in master which is not there in the category branch. So what if you want to merge the product branch? Before that, I will show you the git lg. What it is showing me now? It is showing me that master is now up to date with the category page commit. Both the master and the category branch has this commit. So now I don't want this category branch anymore. So I'll just delete the category branch. So what it will show me? It will show me that master is in the category page. So in such kind of merges, we are not able to see like how it happened, how it was done. Whether it was done on another new branch or not, we don't know that. We don't have any details about the category branch now. We just know that master is in category page commit now. Now how to merge product branch? So if you are going to merge the product branch, whether it will be a fast forward merge? No, it won't be a fast forward merge. Why? Because in the case of a fast forward merge, the master will not have an extra commit which is not there on the branch which is going to be merged. Here you have a commit like added category page on the master which is not there on the product branch. So you have an extra commit on the product branch and also an extra commit on the master branch which the product branch does not know. So such kind of merges are called recursive merges. So I'll go check out master first. I was already on the master. Now I'll give git merge product. If I give git merge product, I'll be thrown to an editor where I need to edit the message for the recursive merge commit. So I'll just accept the default message. So what it will show me? If I give lg, see, it is showing me that from the product branch, it got merged with the master branch and by this command we are able to know that it is a recursive merge. I don't want this product branch anymore, so just delete the product branch. How to delete the product branch? Git branch -d product. So now if I give it LG, I'll be able to see that this merge happened as a recursive merge on a particular product branch. But I don't have any details about the category page, since the category page merge was a fast forward merge. So how to do a fast forward merge and know some more details about the branch? You can always do a recursive merge even though it is a fast forward merge. How to do that? We need to use a command -no fast forward. Let's take an example. Suppose in the website creation project we need to have a My Account page. So I'll just create a new branch where I will code for My Account feature. So I'll just create another branch, My Account, and do a checkout. So I switch to My Account branch now. I'll create a file, myaccount.html. Sorry, yes, I would not have done that. myaccount.html. So I have that file now. So what I will do is I will add that to the staging area and do the commit. So what happened? If I give LG, what happened? So I have a My Account branch. I have some code in there. I have committed that code, but I have not merged it with the master. In this case, it is going to be a fast forward merge because master is not having any extra commits that are not there on the My Account branch. All the commits that are on the master are also there in the My Account branch. So how to avoid fast forward merge and do a recursive merge in this scenario? We'll use the command -no fast forward. First, before that, you need to check out git checkout master. And what you will do is you will give git merge -no fast forward and give the branch name. So it will be thrown to the recursive merge that editor, and I will accept the default command. So if I give git LG, I'll be able to see that now my account is merged with master, and I will be able to see this details about that branch and how I did the commit. So that is how you do fast forward merge in a recursive manner. So now I have completed all my merge. I don't want the My Account branch anymore. So what I'll do is I'll just delete My Account branch. And if I give git branch, again I have my master branch only. So these are the types of merges you have in Git: fast forward merge and recursive merge. But it is not always that easy. You may have some conflicts while doing merging. I'll just create a situation where we will get some merge conflicts. So back to our previous example of a website creation project, and you need to have a new feature now, a shopping cart feature, some shopping cart page. So what I'll do is I'll create a branch for cart, and I'll do some code, or assume that I'll create a cart page there. Let's do that. So just check that you are on the master branch. Yes, I am on the master branch and we have only the master branch. Now I'll just create another branch -b cart. So what did I do? I just did branching So I have got a cart branch now, and I'm going to create a cart page. I'll create cart.html file, and that is going to create the cart page magically. Just assume like that. So I'll just add it to the staging area and then do the commit. So what I did was I created the cart branch and I have a commit on the cart branch, which is cart.html. Now I need to have some more modifications in my code. So I have a cart page, I have the cart.html file, I have the cart page, but now I want to include a link in the home page which is linking to the cart page. So I need to add a link for the cart page in the home page. How to do that? I'll just vi home.html file and just add something. Say if I am going to add links, I'll just add like say cart. So let's just to assume that I'm going to add a link to the cart page here. So I have modified the home page. I will add that and I will add the commit. Modified home.html cart. So I have done that. So if I give git lg, you have two commits on the cart branch, which is added the cart.html and also modifying the home.html to include the cart page. Assume that while I was working on the cart feature, one of my colleagues was working on home page redesign feature. That is, he was just redesigning the home page, or I would say home.html file. So you have the master, you have a branch cart where I modified home.html file, and you have another branch which is for some other purpose like home page redesign purpose, and the same home.html file is being modified there also. So what will happen in this case of merge? We'll check that out. So what I have done is I have created two commits in the cart branch. Now what I will create is I'll create another branch, and my colleague is doing some other work there. So he'll be working on home page redesign feature. So he's going to redesign the home page. So what, I'll create another branch. Make sure you are on the master. Check out master. And then I'll create a branch. Check out branch home page redesign. What happened? So I have created another branch called home page redesign, and my colleague is going to do some coding there. So what he is going to do is he is going to modify the home.html file. So home.html file, I'll vi here, so that will be empty, because whatever modification you have done for the home.html was there on the cart branch. It doesn't have anything to do with the home page redesign branch. So again I'll include some links here. Say I have added link to the category page, and I have added link to the product page. Say I have added the links like that. So what I'll do is I'll add and then commit it. Added links in home.html for category and product page. So I have done a commit there. So you have a master, you have a branch, master, you have a category, you have a cart branch where you have modified home.html file. You have another branch called home page redesign. There also we have modified home.html file. Suppose I have finished my coding in the cart branch. I want to merge my cart branch with the master. Of course it will be a fast forward merge, so I just don't want that. I'll do a recursive branching now. So I'll check out the master, and I will merge git merge -no fast forward cart. So I am thrown to the editor. I will accept the message, and if I give git lg, I'm able to see that you have the master at the cart now, at the merge branch cart that is there. So all the modification that I have done has come to the master branch now. So merging is done correctly, like fast forward merge is done. But now I want to merge my home page redesign. What will happen then? It will throw merge conflict, because on the master you have a file home.html which is not same as that of home.html in the home page redesign branch. So we will just go and see that. So before that, I have done with my cart branch. I will just delete my cart branch. So I have just deleted that. So what I have got is master now with the cart branch merging. So I have done what I need to do. So now my colleague has finished coding in home page redesign branch. He wants to merge that code with the master now. So again I'll check out master, I'll check out master and do a merge. Of course it is going to be a recursive merge. Anyway, I'll just give git merge home page redesign. What happened? it has thrown some error. And in which file? It has thrown some error in home.html file. Because master branch, after merging it with the cart branch, have a home.html file which has linked to the cart page. But home.html file in homepage redesign branch has links to the category page and the product page only. So there is conflict. So just go and see what are the conflicts you have got in home.html. You need to do vi home.html. What it will show me? What it is, this less than sign, head, cart, you have some equal to sign, greater than, homepage redesign. What is this all about? What it is saying is links, both on the master and the homepage redesign page, you have the heading links. But on the master branch, that is head, master branch is having a link to the cart page. But in the case of a homepage redesign branch, it is having the links to category page and product page. So these are the conflicts you have got. This is a section that will come in the master branch, and this is the section that is different in the branch, homepage redesign branch. How to fix the conflict? You can just delete these lines. You can just delete these lines, all the greater than sign and the less than signs, and you can decide what we need to have in this particular file. So this will be my final file. So I'll just save it. So what is the status I have got now? I have a file which is unstaged. So what I will do is I will do a git add and I will just commit it. Fixed conflicts in home.html. So what happened? If I give git lg, what I am able to see? See, now all the merge is over now. Everything is added to the master branch. So this fixed conflicts also come there. So the modified file you have on the master now. So everything is merged to the master. We have fixed the conflicts. This is only when you have a conflicts in one file. You can have conflicts in multiple files. So all the list of files will be listed when you do the git merge. So all the files which have conflicts will be listed, and you can go to each one of them and modify or fix the conflict. This is the basic concept of branching and merging, and what will happen when you have merge conflicts. Let's see if you have any questions here. Let's go to the next session, working with remotes. I have already mentioned you about how to connect with GitHub repositories. Let's do what you have been doing once more, how to connect to a GitHub repository. Just go to our terminal. And I'll create another folder, say web 3, and I'm going to web 3. So just assume that I'm again going to create an home page for this website. So what I'll do is touch home.html and home.css. You have two files. Add it to the, and I need to initialize the repository, and I will add this to the staging area and do the commit. So what I have done is I have created a new folder, I have added some home file, and I have put into the local Git repository. Now I am going to go to my GitHub. I'll go to my GitHub. So I'll go to GitHub and create a repository. And so I'll create a new repository, say web 3. So I'm going to create a public repository. So I've created the repository, and I will copy this and add the connection to my terminal into my Git local repository. So I'll be asked for the credentials. Logics. So whatever I have got, I have pushed into the local or the central GitHub repository. So just go and see what you have got in the GitHub repository. So if you go to the GitHub repository, you will be able to see your entire code, home.css and home.html code. you can see the entire code here. Suppose you have some commits in the GitHub repository. So how to create that? Create a new file, say readme.md file, and just give a name, welcome to my project, and I'll just commit it. So I have some changes on the GitHub repository that are not there in my local repository. We'll just go to our terminal. So I have already shown you a command, git branch. So that will show me what are the branches I have got in the local Git repository. But if I give a command to show all my branches -a, I'll be able to see one more branch, which is a remote tracking branch called origin master. This remote tracking branch is a copy of the master in the GitHub repository, and it will create the copy as on when the last time it spoke with each other. So what we have just pushed, our home page we have just pushed to the GitHub repository. So our origin master will have only that commit. So if I give git lg, I'll be able to see that origin master is having only that commit. But I have an extra commit on the GitHub repository. I want to have that commit in my local. How to do that? I will use the command git pull. I can use the command git pull. What it will do? It will pull the readme file or the last commit or the whatever commits you have on the GitHub repository, all the latest commits, and merge it with our master in the local GitHub repository. So if I give git lg, that creation of readme.md file, that commit has come to our master and also to our origin master. Origin master is nothing but the remote tracking branch, which is actual copy of what you have got in the GitHub repository as on when we last spoke with the GitHub repository. So we have pulled down all the changes and merged with the master. There is another way of doing it. Assume that you have one more change in the GitHub repository. We'll go to our GitHub terminal. If I go to my GitHub terminal, and I'll just create or update readme.md file. So I can, here there is a link, I can say I'm adding contact details. So I have updated the contact details in the readme file, and all the readme.md file we have a change or we have a commit on the GitHub repository that is not there on our local GitHub. So one way of doing is pull the changes to the local Git repository. So pull means actually it will bring down all the changes and merge it with my master. Another way of doing is fetch the code from the GitHub repository and merge it when we want. So in that case, we can use the command git fetch. If we use the command git fetch, it will fetch the latest change, that is updation of the readme.md file, but it will not be available in the master branch. It will be available only in the origin master remote tracking branch. So I'll just check out remote tracking branch. So that is showing that since this origin master is a remote tracking branch, it will show that we are on a detached head state. Don't worry too much about it. Just understand that you can check out the origin master branch as you check out the other branch, and you can see what are the files you have got. And if I go to readme file, you will be able to see the update details. But if you go to the master branch, master, and if I give vi readme.md file, you won't be able to see those changes. That is because we have just fetched the changes from the GitHub repository, but we have not merged it. So we can merge it when we want. Then what you can do is git checkout master and then give git merge origin master, git merge origin master. And if I go and check my readme.md file, I'll be able to see the updated changes in the master. So that is how you can do fetch and merge. So pull is nothing but fetch and merge together. So that is the basic idea about how you need to work with remote repositories. So that is all for today. So I have introduced you to the basic concepts of Git. Hope you had a great session. So some of the advanced topics like stashing, rebasing are not covered in this session. That will be covered in one of the advanced sessions. So thank you for being on the session. It was a great opportunity, and we do conduct hands-on workshops. So for any queries, contact anjudominic@quadralogics.com. We will be able to help you out. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in some other sessions. Have a great day. Thank you. Let's see if you have any questions. Any other questions, please feel free to ask. If I am unable to answer, I can answer by email also. And please do let me know your feedback on the session. Email me on anjudominic@quadralogics.com. If any of your friends or your any institutions or want to have paid hands-on sections, you can also contact me at anjudominic@quadralogics.com. You have some time, so you have any questions, just ping me. So we can stop for the time being. Just email me for any more queries. Thank you all for attending my session. Thank you very much.